Hello and welcome to another week. I'm Trish Rock and I want to inspire you today to make some changes in your life around your clarity. Today we're going to talk about perception, clarity and FOMO, fear of missing out. You know, many years ago I was constantly in a scramble for more information, more training, more ways to connect, more ways to market my stuff, more ways to live, more information, more learning, more. And it wasn't intentionally around having more stuff, so to speak. Like I'm not a hoarder or a clutterer. It really was the perception of missing out. It really was that fear of missing out on something and just needing to, be everywhere. And it's exhausting. But the perceptions around it were what was driving it, not the actual FOMO, right? It's the perceptions and the clarity. My clarity at that time was fuzzy, to say the least. Right? It was like having my glasses on and grease put over them, right? No clarity. And I really was basically flying by the seat of my pants. I was learning new things, trying to put them in place, and then, I had no grounding for them. I had no consistency. I had no plan. And so those things weren't working. So then I'd go on to the next thing. And this was for business life as well as my personal life, to be honest. It was everything. When my clarity wasn't there and I perceived things in the way that I was perceiving them then, that I was going to miss out on something, it was just a mess. And, the perception that I had of it, including me, so the perception I had of it all, like in business wise, and including me, was failure. Not good enough, never going to be good enough, never going to be able to achieve that, can't do it, who am I to do it? But when I really got some clarity and shifted the way I perceived these things, FOMO faded. Right? So if you are listening in today and you really want that side to shift for you as well, because it's exhausting you and it's not getting you anywhere, then you're in the right place. So I want to talk today about clarity, the way you perceive things, and that FOMO, and trying to let that fade and try to let the clarity and the perception rise up to be the stronger vibration in you, so that you're not in that panic mode, that fear mode, which just takes you round and round and round, and it's exhausting. It is exhausting. So clarity has come in a couple of different ways for me, and I'll talk about business mainly, but there's also clarity in my life as well, right? In my personal life and relationships and things. But I guess it all comes from a new perception, and that's really where the clarity started. And why did I even feel that I needed a new perception? Well, I was very out of alignment. And for any of you, like if you're watching and you're just not feeling right, then you're probably out of alignment. I never knew what it was in the beginning, but now I know if it doesn't feel right, but you can't quite put your finger on it, you just know there's something there that needs to shift. And it could just be a perception around it, right? The way you think about it, your point of view about something. And when you can shift some of that, or even one thing, it makes a massive difference to your outlook and with other things. And if you're really clear on your path forward, or how you want to feel on your path forward, then the fear of missing out doesn't come into it. So the clarity and the perception are my point of view. My point of view, which is my perception around me, my purpose, what I love doing, how I love to do it, and where I want to do it, why, with whom, all of those things. As soon as they were all clear and I had that vision and I had that movement forward with that clarity, then the way I perceived all of those things coming at me that I used to see as FOMO, right? FOMO objects, I now see them as perhaps an opportunity or perhaps not. Do they fit in with the clarity here of my picture? Do those things fit into my picture? And it's either a yes or a no. Sometimes it's a maybe. Wait a day, then you'll know it's a yes or a no. So perceiving things from that way is far more gentle and kind to myself, but I'm not caught up in that whole tornado of fearing that I'm going to miss out on something. Because I know through my clarity, I know that when something comes up that I feel I need to learn or do or whatever, the right class or the right person will show up and I'll go there. I also know that as soon as I take a step forward in some action, that the next step always appears. And before, when that next step was appearing, there would be like 10 next steps appearing, right? Because I wasn't clear. And then you'd have to, the fear of missing out. So you had to kind of go all directions, which it doesn't take you forward at all. It just is very confusing. It keeps you in a standstill. So having that clarity, knowing that what I need will come and it will feel in alignment with this new perspective and this new point of view, I can have a whole lot of things happening all at once and I feel okay saying no. Some things I will have a little bit of a look into and think, maybe, and put it in the maybe list. Other things, it's like, yeah, no, I don't even want to see that. No thanks, not for me. And I don't have that fear in me that I've missed out on seeing something or missed out on doing something. And it really has brought a lot of freedom, emotional freedom, and, really freedom, time freedom. And that freedom of that emotional roller coaster of thinking if you just do enough things that it will all work out. And sometimes it does. But when you're throwing paint on the wall constantly and it's all just dripping off and you can't see any pattern arising from it, it's just one big mess. When you do get that clarity and you start actually putting paint on the wall in the exact pattern of the tapestry that you've planned and you can see it taking shape, that really brings so much joy that you actually thank all of the things that came along that you said no to. You thank them for the clarity. Thank you for showing up. The people, the opportunities, the ideas, the must-haves, all of the marketing that we are subject to constantly on a daily basis. You can look at those things and say, thank you. That really has made me even clearer on the painting I'm doing, on the tapestry of my life, on the story that I'm writing. So what will it be for you? How can you find that clarity right now? How can you find that clarity right now so that you can feel more at peace. You can feel calmness during the day, knowing that you are looking at exactly what you need to look at that moment. Well, here are 3 tips that will really help you. And they're 3 questions. And you may need to do some journaling around it. Because your perception of these things will need to change slightly for you to get the clarity. So the first question is, what is it you love doing? What is it you love doing? And that's not what you feel you have to do. It may not even be what you're doing now. What is it that you love doing? And be really clear, if you love helping people, how is it that you love helping people? So what is it you love doing? And as I said, even right there, your point of view on that needs to really answer the question, not the point of view that you need to answer this question is one of that voice in here that says, oh, well, I really love that. So when I say to you, what do you love doing? You might say, oh, I love roller skating. And then your mind steps in. It's like, well, I'm not going to write that down because you can't make any money roller skating, or that's not a career, or, you know, your perspective on it kind of overrules anything new. So we need a new point of view, a new perspective on that, and just write down what comes. What do you love doing? And if you were in a business that you do many things, just write down the one that really brings you the most joy, the one that lights you up, the one that lights your fire. Yeah. The second question is why? Why do you love doing it? How does it make you feel when that happens? So in my case, I really love changing people's point of view. I love helping people change their story, their perspective. I love that aha in their eyes when they finally understand that there is other possibilities outside of the one that they think was the only one. I love that sparkle in their eye that comes. That's what I love. And why do I love it? Because it brings me joy, it lights me up, it's my purpose. And I know I get so excited for them because I can see all the possibilities for their life. It really lights me up. And the third question is, how? How do you like to do this thing? How do you like to work? How do you like to be on purpose? So for me, that has been real clarity as well, because I don't offer as many services as I used to. I don't offer as many ways that people can work with me as I used to, because I thought I had to have all these different ways. FOMO. But I don't. I know how I love to work with people, and that's now what I do, because I've got the clarity. Anything outside of that, I just have my blinkers on. I don't even need to know. And so there's your 3 questions: what, why, and how. If you can get really clear on that, especially in your business, it really will help you moving forward with more clarity. It will help you take the heaviness away if you've got FOMO, and it really will help your movement forward. And just a simple change in perception here of focusing on what you really love doing, and just keeping those blinkers on. And here's the other thing, which took me a little while, and which you may be stuck in as well, that if you do have certain aspects of your business that you do that you also really like, that's great too. It doesn't mean you stop doing those. But if you're really clear on why you're doing it, what you love about it, what it is you're doing, then, and how you're doing it, then you really won't get caught up in the fear of missing out on anything, because you're very clear on where you're headed, and whatever you need for that will show up, and you will feel that it's the right thing. So deep breath. Let's see if we can pack up the FOMO and really change that perspective on your next step. What is your next step? It's not, the next step is not something that you've received a marketing message on that you might miss out on if you don't do it. That's not your next step. Your next step is what feels right, what feels in alignment with you for what you do, why you do, and how you do it, especially in business. So I hope that has helped. Let me know in the comments what's your perspective on that. Have you got clarity around who you are and what you do in this lifetime, what your purpose is? Or are you still trying to find that and you've got FOMO? Yeah, let me know in the comments. I'd really like to know, because often I'm working with people who are really ready to make those changes, and they've got the clarity around that. And so at that stage before, which is where I was for many years, the clarity even around knowing that you've got the fear of missing out can be missing there too. So let me know where you are at, and what change of perspective would you like that you think would change everything, and do you have clarity on your next step?